I decided to become a prosecutor because I wanted to be involved in my community. I wanted to be able to make a difference, and I wanted to be able to help others. So that's why I ended up becoming a prosecutor. I had actually originally majored in early childhood education before I went to law school. I knew I wanted to help, I just didn't know where I was going to fit in that equation. The best thing about being a prosecutor, especially in the Child Support Enforcement Agency, is being able to see when you make an impact. So you actually do see when we implement our enforcement techniques, people getting the support that they're entitled to. And so it's great to really see that process work the way it's meant to work and getting support to families and children that need it. The most difficult thing about being a prosecutor is when you can't get the results that someone wants. I'm not always the one who gets to make final decisions. I can't always make people do things that they don't want to do, and so that can be very frustrating when you're working with someone and we're trying and trying and trying and we're just not getting where that person and that family needs to be, and that can be a bit frustrating. It's frustrating for the person, and it's frustrating for me as a prosecutor. It's not a perfect system. It doesn't always work the way we want it to, and so that can be a challenge. One case that I really remember was when I very first came to the agency and I was dealing with a contempt case. It was in the juvenile court, and it was a mother who owed support because she had lost custody of her children, and she comes to the contempt hearing and she tells me that she never finished high school, she doesn't have a GED, she just can't seem to find employment, she really didn't know where to start or how to go about finding a job, maintaining a job, and what the expectations of even having a job would be. And so we put her in our Family Support Matters program, and the coordinator of that program worked with her, got her hooked up with some local community agencies, and were able to find her a job, I think within a month of us having that hearing. And I knew that she had found employment before I went to the hearing from talking with the coordinator, but I show up at the hearing about 3 or 4 months later, and she looked like a different person. You could see how good she felt that she was able to finally be able to support her child financially in a way that she had never really been able to previously. And without those resources, without that help, I don't know if she ever would have been able to get there. She just needed someone to help her through that process. I think some misconceptions or some of the difficulty that we run across is that, we don't represent either party in child support enforcement actions. Our goal is to do what's best, in many respects, what's best for the child and what's going to make their home life better. So I think sometimes it's hard when you have to explain to a custodial parent that I really have to try and work with the non-custodial parent before we get to some of the greater enforcement techniques like incarceration and sending them to jail. You're dealing with people's most important things in their life. You're dealing with their children, you're dealing with their finances, and so it can be a really difficult emotional time for them. And so I think the best that I can do is be there for them, listen to them, hear out their concerns, and a lot of times we can, get to the point where we do what they're looking for, but it's not always the case that we just jump right to the enforcement techniques that people really want to see sometimes. So that can be hard at times, explaining that, we've got to try everything that we really can before something like that happens.